Hello Internet, it is still Thursday, December the 3rd. I've got a lot to catch up on. My brain is just full. Anyways, someone asked me about routining. I think it was Hand Ninja. I'm not even going to try and guess what that name alludes to, but at the same time, you can't help it. So anyways, Hand Ninja asked about routining. Now routining is a highly personal, very personal thing. I know guys that don't routine. I know guys that do routine. I know guys that will sit and stress for years trying to figure out the ultimate routine to do with this trick or that trick. I'm in the middle. I don't necessarily think that everything should be routined. I don't necessarily think that things shouldn't be routined. But I do believe that if there is a natural progression from here to here to here and so on, then by all means, go for it. For instance, in my own personal, when I worked at a restaurant, I used to work, a little bit of history. Years ago, I worked at 3 different restaurants a week. And it got to the point where I was operating on autopilot. And by autopilot, I mean, I really wasn't giving much thought to what I was doing. There's a camera glare. Oh, look at that right there. Anyways, so, and not that I wasn't trying to concentrate on the magic or not have fun. I just wasn't paying attention to what I was performing, in the sense that, you know, I just did whatever I felt like doing. Like, I really didn't care at that point. I was tired. I was burned out. It's like, you know what? Screw it. Here, you want to see a trick? Here's another trick. Here, what? A trick. Yeah, it's a trick. So it got to the point where I actually accidentally routined a whole bunch of things. Now, one of the routines, it started out with Ambitious Card. Now, I've got to admit, the Ambitious Card is a great effect. It was always my opener. It was a great way to say hello, you know, write your name on the card, blah, 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 blah. And I would do the Ambitious Card. And from there, I felt, well, what can I do with the card now? What's the next logical step? And then I realized, well, you know what? I know what the next step is. So I started doing Card Warp right after Ambitious Card, because I just wanted to do something with the card. I didn't want, like, you know, to be all artsy and fartsy. I didn't care how things were structured. I just wanted to do something with the card. And it turned out that the Card Warp that I had bought, which I, again, was in Enchantments, Wesley James, was a perfect way to use their card. You know, their card got folded, and my card got folded, and boom, Card Warp, and you got a little souvenir at the end of it. And that was a really neat little two-trick routine that started out like as 2 separate tricks, like one done here and then one done, you know, some other time. And it all kind of like stitched itself together. And I figured, well, you know what? What was the third trick I could do? And I've heard people say that, like, the restaurant routine should have 3 tricks. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't really think there is a third trick, not for these 2 things intertwined. And you're looking at maybe a good, like, 7 to 10 minutes worth of magic, depending on how slow you talk. It's like, your card goes up here and to the top. But, you know, I don't believe routines have to have the same structure from person to person, from routine to routine. It's a personal thing. If you're routine, and I'm going to keep doing this because, like, routine is one of those phrases that can be defined in so many different ways. But if your routine is simply 2 tricks, then fine, it's 2 tricks. If your routine is like 40 tricks, then fine, it's 40 tricks. Another one that I used to do was like a mentalism routine. I would start out with doing Out of This World, Roy Walton. I learned a really good one from Harry Lorraine's book, My Favorite Card Tricks. Impromptu, doesn't use you pull a deck out of your pocket, away you go. From there, I would move into the Invisible deck, and then from there, I would move into the Mind Power deck. Now, granted, that's a lot of deck switching going on, which isn't really that hard if you have lots of pockets and lots of, you know, practice deck switching. But that was a great little routine that just basically focused all the power, like, you know, all the power, all the focus on the spectator rather than the magician. The Out of This World, you know, they do all. If you don't know the premise of Out of This World, dude, pick up a book, read it, and, like, good lord, like, learn some stuff. Basically, Out of the World is a spectator red-black sorted. Like, they don't see where the cards are going, but the spectator sorts the cards red and black without them actually looking at the face of the card. That's a fantastic trick, especially the impromptu version that I learned from Harry Lorraine. It's like a $12, $15 book. If you go pick it up, dude, it's well worth the cost. Invisible deck. If you don't know what the Invisible deck is, get the hell out of Magic. I'm serious. It's just, everyone should know what the Invisible deck is. Whether you perform it or not, you should know. And then the Mind Power deck, while not widely in production as it used to be, is a great effect. And it used to be that it wasn't in the bicycle back format. And when it finally came out on bicycle back format, it's like a hot damn, I'm all over that like white on rice. I didn't actually say that, and I do like rice. So, but basically, it's just for me, routining is just taking a series of tricks that you feel are designed to go together. Now, again, designed is a highly subjective word. It's how you interpret it. For me, the ambitious card to the card warp, it felt like a match because you could still do something with their card and still do something magical and still have them, have something at the end to hold on to look at and think back on and say, hey, that was a damn cool trick. With the mentalism, air quotes, with the mentalism routine, again, the focus, it was like one theme, one focus from trick to trick to trick to trick. Whether, it doesn't matter how many times I switched the deck, they didn't see that. But it was actually a really good group trick as well, because the invisible deck, you can do that for more than one people. The card warp, not card warp, out of this world, you can do that for two people. Especially for a couple, that's a great trick to do for a couple and show them the synchronicity of the relationship. So. And then the Mind Power deck, oh my god, I should really brush up on that. It's gonna, you can't really do the Mind Power deck for the internet, it's just ridiculous. But you can do it for a group of people, and I'll tell you, man, the Mind Power deck is unfreaking believable, especially after they've seen the decks from like your regular Out of This World, moving into the Invisible deck. Like, everything appears normal. I'm not going to give away the fact that the Mind Power deck is a trick deck. I think I just gave away the fact that the Mind Power deck is a trick deck, but who the hell cares at this point? But that is a great freaking trick, man. Unbelievable. I'm actually going to learn that and do that in my restaurant stuff more often. But if you can still pick it up, by all means, go for it. It's like, 2, 4, 5, 6. Unbelievable. And I used to have problems asking, like fishing for their card. And I realized early on, if you guys do the Mind Power deck, ping me and let me know if you want my little piece of advice to get rid of one question. Easy way to get rid of one question, and I'll tell you, it's so sneaky, so damn sneaky. So on that note, I'll just leave that. I'll quit teasing you with all that stuff, and suddenly I'm Italian. But the routining, again, it's a personal choice. If you do coins, it makes sense to do tricks with the same coins, with the same theme, differently for, coins multiplying, now they're vanishing, and now they're appearing in your pocket. With cards, I read your mind, you read my mind, now you read each other's minds. It's the theme is what you need to figure out what you want to do. You can't really do like a thumb tip, and then linking rings, and then a card trick, or a vanishing pop bottle. Like some things just don't match. I'm sorry, man. It's like white socks and dress shoes. They don't go together. So you got to find things that carry on, a little bit of something from the previous trick into the next trick. Whether it's an idea, whether it's a prop, whether it's, again, a theme, or even if it's part of a story. It's all part of something that ties everything together. And the hard part is finding out what works for you. Because you never really know what works for you until you try. Like, I used to do all these tricks and stuff like that I figured, were great, that were just phenomenal routines. And then I realized, as I was performing these things, it didn't really suit me. It's like, I felt like I was wearing like a coat that just didn't fit right. It wasn't me. And I quickly realized that it's okay to learn other people's routines and patterns and stuff like that. But at that point, you've got to kind of grow out of what you learned and start making it your own. And I learned, I wouldn't say the hard way, but I learned early that performing things over and over and over and over again is actually a great way to make something your own. Because you realize, like, after performing, like, for instance, like my thumb tip routine, your standard routine, it's gone, now it's in this hand, and now it's gone again. And, like, it's not really rocket science. It's not, you're not going to win awards, but at the